Hello, Gemini. It's been a long time, but I am back. And I'm going to give you a reading now for October 2020, what we can come to experience. And of course, this year has been out of the norm, hasn't it? With COVID, the lockdown, all of that. That's been very frustrating for so many people. And I've talked to a lot of you one on one, but now I'm going to talk to all of you Geminis what you can come to expect as we're coming in towards the end of the year. October is bringing two beautiful full moons. You'll see what that means. But what I'm doing new is that I'm recording this on Zoom. The software is a little new to me. You'll have to bear with me if there's a little bloop here or there, but we'll get the hang of it. And so it's going to be unedited. I'm not going to take it through my editor processing. So you'll get all the small little bloopers. And that's good if I can bring a smile and a little chuckle as we go on. But listen, what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be bringing up your chart, okay, so that you can follow along, see where the planets are transiting in the areas of your chart. And so let's see what we can bring up here. We should have this now. This is a Gemini, and I'm over here on the right hand. Let me just expand that video. Good. So now we can see what is going on, right? And I'm just going to bring up a little arrow so I can point out things as we speak. Um, and of course, we're going to start with the sun. That's right here in your fifth house. So what does that mean, Gemini? Well, it's the area of self-expression and creativity, but it's also love and romance and new love, all of those things. Not necessarily the long-term love like what the seventh house provides, but the fifth house is how we express ourselves romantically, how we share ourselves, how we go about finding a new partner. If you're single, how can you express your talents, your creative talents, and so forth, right? Now, Venus is in the sign of Libra right here, and Libra is ruled by Venus, which is love. So you're going to get that Venetian feeling this month as the sun is cruising through here, and it's all about now digging down deep, bringing out those talents and skills and expressing it, bringing it out, and you will do great. We know that you are such a great communicator, as is Gemini. Maybe you'll find a new way to express that through this month, okay? Now, to top it off, what we do have also is that new moon also in the very same area. And we know from the past, those of you who have been listening to me in the past, we know the new moon is all about bringing out our intentions, how we want to set ourselves up for the oncoming month. But listen, there's more to it than just that. When we have a new moon in one area, like right now it's here in the fifth house, well, you're setting yourself up for romantic self-expression, creative self-expression, actually, not just for the coming month, but for the entire year until that new moon comes back to this area. That is why the power of intentions is super strong. If you do it correctly, right here, right now, this month, which will actually be on October 16th, make a note of that right down here. You could see October 16th. I think when I took a screenshot of this, it cut out my little icons for it. But this top one, October 16th, is that new moon. And if you do this correctly, you're setting yourself up for how you're going to be interacting creatively, emotionally, romantically. And it's also the area of your children. So your children are going to be super important this month in October, but also those intentions. Don't forget the children and how you would like to see your interactions with them or them with you in the coming next 12 months. All right. So powerful new moon, right? Talking about the moons, we got two more coming up this month. Normally we have one full moon a month. This month we're going to have two full moons. We have October 1st. We got October 31st. Now that's very, very powerful. The first one on October 1st is showing up right up here in Aries, which for you is a great area. It's the 11th house. That's social activity, how you share yourself with friends, social networks and so forth. It's also the area of hopes and dreams and all of those things. So you're going to be harvesting. That's normally what we get under a full moon, right? The full moon, which rules our emotions. This is where our heart, our spirit is going to feel like it's running over. So this would be a great time, even though we have social distancing going on. Maybe you won't in October be able to be with your big crowd of friends, but there's other ways of doing so, and you will find a creative way, I feel, to be able to do so. There might also be some great news coming in or news that you could be sharing with some of your friends on the networks, right? The second full moon, October 31st, is falling into your 12th house, which is all about what's running behind the scenes. Okay, it's our spirituality, it's how we dream, right? It's very creative. It's the area and the house of Pisces, ruled by Neptune. So this full moon is going to be very romantic. It could be very sensitive. You might have very powerful dreams or visions. Think about how Pisces are. This full moon is going to give you a feeling of what they deal with always, right? Being as creative as they are. But there is a second surprise attached to this one. I'm going to put a little heart right there. Why? Because um, they're conjunct. Um, the full moon and Uranus. And you know how Uranus is the wild card. It's what brings us the unexpected, unexpected news, unexpected situations. We never know what we get. It's like a box of chocolate, but it's going to be affecting you emotionally because of that full moon. It's in the sign of Taurus. Taurus loves beautiful things, you know. So whatever that means for you, you're going to feel here, since it is in the sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Well, that is going to bring the heart out. That is Venus, the heart. It's love. And then, of course, that Piscean type of love is very spiritual. And then the unexpected surprise. Well, hey, loving that, right? October 31st for this one. Put that on your calendar, right? And while we're at it, you know how I've always in the past talked about listening to your moon sign and your rising sign. Why is that? Well, the moon sign, this is your solar chart, okay? This is you being Gemini, listening to the Gemini forecast. If you know your chart, you know where your moon is. When you listen to the moon reading, that will show all the same planets that we have here, right? But it will be shifted to other areas of your chart so that you will have a full emotional reading on what is going on with these planets here. And that is just as potent as you listening to your sun sign reading that we're doing right now. So I would say, listen to your moon sign. And when I say listen to your rising sign, well, what is that? Well, the rising sign is over here, you know, on the left side of your chart. And the rising energy is how we present ourselves out to the world, but also how we take in from the world. So it's our interaction in the coming month when we listen to the rising sign reading. So if you do that, you get 3 readings from me every single month: your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. If you don't know your moon and rising sign, you can always find that online by going to astro.com, put in your birth. Excuse me. Hey, and you know I'm not going to be editing this, so you just got my cough. However, you can go to astro.com, put in your birth data. It will show you your moon sign, your rising sign, all that, and then you have it for the future. Moving right along, let's take a look at what also is super important, which will be right down here, and it is Mercury. Mercury going retrograde, and we know what that means, guys. Now we can have miscommunications and so forth, or little delays. And Mercury is your ruler, so you kind of roll with it better than other people do. But we can have delays, we can have slowdowns, we can have miscommunications, all that kind of thing. And we don't want to, of course, be signing any contracts with a retrograde. And where it's showing up for you is right down here in the 6th house. This is where it's going to express itself this time around. Last Mercury retrograde was in a different part of your chart. This time it's going to be sixth house, meaning your day to day routines. It's also about health, the way we think about health. You might, change things up or go back to. Remember, retrograde means going back to. Maybe you had this brilliant idea that you started on earlier and then you quit, right? Maybe you started keto and then you quit. This would be a time where that comes back to consciousness. It's like, ooh, that actually worked. Maybe I should go back to it, restart it. Or maybe you started on a different training program and quit. And now retrograde is saying, hey, if that worked, might be time to come back around and restart it. So anything new that we start, it's okay to start new things under Mercury retrograde if it pertains to the past. Not necessarily starting anything new, like new concepts. I would wait to after November 4th to do so. It will be retrograde from October 14th to November 4th. Give it another 10 to 14 days just so Mercury gets out of its shadow before we up new things. But old things, absolutely great time to bring it up, polish it, and retweak. Next thing we want to look at is Venus. Venus this month right here in Leo. Now, Venus is love, it's romance. For you, it being in the third house. Third house is all about communication. And in fact, that is also your ruler. You rule the third house. It's the house of Gemini. So having Venus here is powerful for you to express those things, Gemini, matters of the heart, what you feel, what you believe in, anything that you're really up and running for, and broadcasting, whatever you're broadcasting, bringing out is great. Okay, if you're giving any presentations this month, fantastic. Also, September, while it was cruising through this sign, it was working for you, and you still have a little bit of this as we start off the month. It's 27 degrees there, so it's not going to linger and last forever, but do it early that first week, and you will still have benefits of presenting what it is that you believe in and what you want to bring out. Mars is up in your 11th house, and Mars is our driving force. It's our ambition. It's that power engine that gets us up and running towards the goals that we set for ourselves, right? And so for you, Gemini, it's all about your circle of friends, your tribe, online media, all of that for you. While Mars is here, is helping you reach a broader audience. Normally, Mars takes 5 to 6 weeks to cruise through an area of our chart, but because of its retrograde right now, it's giving it an extended time between 5 to 6 months in this area, meaning, and especially now that it's retrograde, think about what ideas did you have earlier. Maybe you started a channel here or there or something new. Maybe you were too busy doing other things, you were spreading yourself thin, but now under retrograde, as long as it's retrograde, it's asking you go back to it, pick it up again, and bring it out while we have the opportunity, while Mars is in this area. Because for you, I think, especially because you are such a communicator, that your social circles are so powerful, so extremely powerful for you. This is where the energy is going up and out. And look at that. We got that full moon up there, 9 degrees in this area for October 1st. So that would have been a very good time, or will be, depending on when you're listening to this, will be a very good time for you to do something within that first 24 hours into October 2nd, when the moon will be passing that Mars. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Fantastic. So I am loving that. I think, for you, putting your actions where your thoughts, where your words are, is really going to make you achieve those goals that you have as ambitions for right now. And it's all about tribes. That is, where your hopes and dreams are, is to grow your tribe. I think you're going to be super, super successful with it. Jumping now over to what's been going on and affecting all of us internationally is Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. This is where COVID has hit home, where we've had our lockdown, where things have been complicated, where Pluto is trying to transform us. Pluto's all about death and dying and rebirth, right? So there's a part of us that are feeling that we're dying too. We're not saying physically, but Saturn is the structure, the foundation, it's our government, it's our own inner sense of self and governing that. We're think about Saturn having rings where we're feeling locked in, hunkered down. Pluto saying that we're losing some control of the control that we've been used to. But you know what? All it's actually doing is transforming itself, okay? It's putting down and breaking away from what no longer works, okay? Which can be painful, it's really riveting it up as in cutting to the core. But the good news and the upside of it is that we are programming ourselves for the next Saturn cycle. It'll be 30 years, 29 years, for Saturn to come back around to Pluto, right? So whatever we're restructuring right now is going to benefit us for that. That is a part of the restructuring of the world that we're living in, the new norms and so forth. For you, it's in the eighth house. It's here. So what does that mean? That means that for you in 2020, the foundation that you're working on, splitting away from, but also rebuilding is the eighth house values of investments. Money's not necessarily income, that's more like down here in the second house. The eighth house is more investments. It could be trades, it could be commissions, royalties, mortgages. A lot of you Geminis are in the sales field, right? Making your money that way, working with commissions and so forth. So you might have seen how this is changing, especially because the market is changing. The way people shop, it's not necessarily, in the brick and mortar buildings. A lot of it is now online. Maybe that's why you're having all of this juicy stuff going up here in the 11th house, which is social networks. And it's ruled by Uranus, the house, right? The Aquarian house, which again rules technology. So if we're looking at technology and we're looking over here, commissions, royalties, I would say you, Gemini, of all the signs, are actually best equipped to go online and try to find affiliated marketing or doing something sales online. You can move mountains and you can find that pot of gold once everything is now set. Okay, so from next year onwards, you'll see that what might have been a curse of 2020, losing your job and being furloughed and the pressure of feeling loss of power, well, the universe is actually empowering you to find that new path that is really going to be your growing block for, like I said, 3 decades to come. So I wish you the best of that. I have a video here at the end coming up after this, and I encourage you to listen to it. Why? Because I'm talking more in depth. What this constellation, you've probably been listening to all the other astrologers about the Saturn-Pluto thing with Jupiter, but that's my 2 cents worth that I really want to share with you, how we're purging, how we can renew ourselves with all of this and see it as a blessing. We got to go with the good stuff so we don't depress and go into anxiety just looking at the collapse of the internal world, the external world, internationally, the market, and oh, there's so much on the news we can become depressed with. No, look at the restructure, rebuild, how you can really be a good part of this, right? So listen to your moon sign, your rising sign. Thank you for sharing this. Let your friends know that I am back to give you readings on a monthly basis. So thank you, Gemini, and I will see you next month. Thank you. See you again soon. Bye now. There we go. Bye now.